Have you ever stopped to think about how some daily habits might be draining your finances and keeping you stuck in a cycle of poverty? If you feel frustrated watching your money slip through your fingers, know that you're not alone. Many people face this silent struggle, battling unexpected expenses and seemingly harmless financial choices that are, in fact, disguised traps. In this article, we will explore 10 secret habits that may be sabotaging your finances. Not only will we identify these harmful practices, but we will also provide practical solutions to help you take control of your financial life. Get ready to transform your relationship with money and finally open the doors to a more prosperous future. First, to avoid missing any valuable tips that can help you on this journey, subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. This way, you'll stay updated on all the content we've prepared specifically to help you achieve your financial independence. 1. Social media addiction, the invisible trap. Imagine the scene. You wake up in the morning, pick up your cell phone while still lying in bed, and, without realizing it, start scrolling through your Instagram or Facebook feed. At first, it seems like a simple, harmless habit, something everyone does. You see photos of people smiling, traveling to exotic places, living the perfect life. What started as a way to check it out soon turns into minutes or even hours of silent comparison. Has it ever happened to you? Anna, a young woman who had ambitious dreams of opening her own business, faced this problem every day. Every time she saw someone posting about their achievements or travels, she felt like her life wasn't on the same level. Even if unconsciously, this affected his self-esteem. The time that could be used to plan your future was sucked up by your cell phone screen, and your thoughts became increasingly negative. She compared her life to the unrealistic standards she saw online, and the feeling of failure took over. This story about Anna is common. Social media addiction may seem harmless, but when left unchecked, it becomes a real trap. In addition to consuming precious hours of your day, it also affects your productivity and, consequently, your financial life. When you waste time comparing your life to others, feelings of inadequacy increase, undermining your confidence and ability to act. But the good news is that this can change. Just like Anna, you can do an honest analysis of how much time you really spend on social media. And what else? There are simple tools that can help you limit this use. You can, for example, set daily reminders to control the time spent on Instagram or turn off notifications that tempt you to check your phone every moment. Think about it with me. If you cut back an hour or two of your time on social media per day, imagine how much progress you can make towards your personal and financial goals. Use this time to invest in activities that really make a difference, such as learning a new skill or developing a project you've always wanted to get off the ground. Remember, your time is a precious resource, and by using it more productively, you will take the first step towards financial success. What may seem like a small change today, like controlling the use of social media, could turn into big achievements in the future. Connect less to the virtual and more to what really matters, your future. 2. The lack of financial organization, the silent villain. Now let's go back in time and imagine another situation. Lucas, a young professional, has always had a good salary. He worked hard at big plans for the future and believed that everything was under control. However, at the end of the month, something strange happened. The money simply disappeared. When it came time to pay the bills, Lucas was lost. Where did all my salary go? He wondered. With fixed and variable expenses mixing together, he couldn't understand where his money was going. Sound familiar? Lucas found himself on a financial roller coaster. As his salary increased over the years, his expenses also increased. New gadgets, expensive restaurants, that streaming subscription he barely used. Everything seemed normal until he realized that, despite earning more, his financial life was in chaos. There was no money left at the end of the month, and worse, sometimes he still had to use his credit card to cover unforeseen expenses. And this is where the power of the financial organization comes in. The truth is that no matter how much you earn, if you don't know how to control your spending, it will always feel like your money is slipping through your fingers. The lack of financial control is not a problem exclusive to those with a low income. Many high-earning people also face this dilemma. The big turning point for Lucas came when he started writing down every penny he spent. At first, it seemed simple and even unimportant, but after a few weeks, he began to notice patterns he had never noticed before. Small daily expenses that, when added together, made a big difference at the end of the month. He also realized he didn't have clear financial goals. Without knowing where he wanted to go, his spending had no purpose, and he remained stuck in a cycle of expenses and debt. The solution to this problem lies in three keywords: planning, goals, and discipline. Lucas learned that by setting long-term financial goals, like buying a house or investing for retirement, he was able to give greater meaning to the money he earned. He started making a monthly budget, prioritizing essential expenses, saving part of his salary, and controlling his variable expenses. The result? In a few months, he already had a financial reserve and started investing for the future. And you? Have you ever stopped to think about how a lack of financial organization could be sabotaging your success? If you also feel like Lucas, stuck in a never-ending spending cycle, it might be time to take a deep look at your finances. Write down each expense, define your priorities, and create a budget that works for your reality. Just like Lucas, you can transform your financial life and walk towards freedom. Remember, controlling your finances is the first step to achieving your dreams. 3. The importance of an emergency fund, your salvation in times of crisis. Let's talk about something that many ignore until it's too late: the emergency fund. Imagine the following situation. Joanna, a stable professional with a good job, lived peacefully without worrying much about her financial future. She thought that her salary was enough to cover all her expenses and that she didn't need to worry so much about savings. But suddenly, her company faced a crisis and Joanna lost her job. Without warning, she found herself without an income and without a plan to cover her bills in the coming months. What seemed like a comfortable financial life suddenly turned into a nightmare. All because she didn't have an emergency fund. An emergency fund is the financial cushion that can save you in moments like Joanna's. And believe me, unforeseen events happen to everyone. Job loss, health problems, or even an economic crisis can affect your financial stability. When you have an emergency fund, which should cover 3 to 6 months of your monthly expenses, you are protected against these situations. If you spend $2,000 per month, for example, the ideal is to have between $6,000 and $12,000 saved in an accessible account, such as a daily liquidity CDB or even Tesoro Dorito. Avoid leaving this money in savings, as the yield is very low. Having this fund ensures that in times of need, you will not need to sell your investments at a bad time in the market or go into debt. Joanna learned this lesson the hard way, but you don't have to go through the same thing. Start building your emergency fund now, even with small amounts. Make this a priority because without this fund, any unforeseen event could lead you into a debt hole. Now, an important point. If you are enjoying this content and believe that it can help you improve your financial life, don't forget to leave your like here. This helps me continue to bring you valuable content and keeps you up to date with all the tips and strategies to achieve financial stability. Start creating your financial reserve now and protect yourself from the unforeseen events that life can bring. Don't wait for a crisis to realize the importance of this habit. 4. The power of knowledge, the safest investment. Now think about the following situation. You finished college, got a good job, and finally feel like you're on the right path. But time passes and you realize that, although you have stability, your chances of growth are stagnant. What is missing? The answer is simple: continuous investment in knowledge. Many people make the mistake of believing that after completing their formal studies, they no longer need to invest in learning. However, the world is constantly changing, and the job market requires you to always be up to date to stand out. Those who don't continue learning end up falling behind. Let's imagine Paolo's case. He began his career in technology, and for the first few years, he was satisfied with his progress. However, when he saw his colleagues being promoted and receiving better salaries, he realized that there was something different between them. They were always updating themselves, taking courses, participating in conferences, and reading relevant books. Meanwhile, Paolo stagnated, and his career stopped moving forward. He noticed that the market was changing quickly, but he wasn't keeping up. It was then that he decided to dedicate 30 minutes a day to developing himself. Paolo started reading books about his field, learning new skills, and taking online courses. Within a few months, he already noticed the difference. His work performance improved, and soon he too was promoted, gaining new financial opportunities. This story reflects what many ignore. Knowledge is the safest investment with the best long-term return. The good news is that accessing new knowledge has never been easier. There are books, online courses, videos, and even podcasts that can transform your mindset and expand your skills. All you have to do is commit to dedicating time to it every day. And now, an important question for you. When was the last time you invested in your own knowledge? If the answer is, I don't remember, or it's been a while, maybe it's time to rethink your priorities. Financial success not only depends on making more money, but also on becoming a more capable person to create new opportunities. Investing in knowledge puts you at a higher level in the job market and in business, as it gives you the necessary tools to innovate, grow, and face challenges with confidence. Plus, it's one of the cheapest ways to invest in yourself, with returns that can last a lifetime. Remember, whoever stops learning, stops growing. So what will you learn today? 5. The danger of impulse buying. How to control the desire to spend. Who has never experienced this? You're walking through the mall or browsing a website, and suddenly that irresistible promotion appears. Buy now and pay later. The ad shines in front of you, and before you know it, you have already placed the item in the cart and completed the purchase. Does this sound familiar? Impulse purchases are one of the biggest enemies of financial stability. We are often seduced by offers that seem unmissable, even when we don't need anything. The problem? This habit accumulates, and when you least expect it, you have a sky-high credit card bill, wondering where all your money went. A good example of this is Ricardo's story. He has always been a fan of electronics, and whenever he saw a promotion for a new gadget, he couldn't resist. The problem is that over time, these seemingly small expenses accumulate. When he did a detailed analysis of his finances, he realized that he had spent thousands of dollars on items that he only used for a short time or that he didn't even need. This created a hole in his budget, preventing him from investing or saving money for more important things. But how can we avoid falling into this trap? The answer lies in controlling your impulse and adopting a more conscious approach to shopping. Before making any purchase, ask yourself, do I really need this? And can I wait until next month? These two simple questions can make you reflect better on your consumption choices. Another crucial point is to analyze whether you have the money available to pay in cash. If the answer is no, perhaps this purchase is not a good idea at this time. We often use credit cards as an extension of our salary, but this practice can be dangerous if there is not adequate planning. Controlling impulse purchases can free up a considerable amount of your budget, which could be used in a much more productive way, such as investing for the future or even creating a financial reserve for emergencies. After all, spending today on something unnecessary can compromise your long-term plans. Simple tips such as creating a shopping list and following it strictly can help a lot. Another effective strategy is to set a monthly spending limit for non-essential items and commit to not exceeding it. And of course, don't be fooled by promotions that make you think you're missing a great opportunity. Remember, there's always another promotion on the horizon. In short, it's okay to treat yourself from time to time, but balance is essential. Avoiding impulse purchases is an important step towards keeping your finances in order and ensuring that your money is being used in the best way possible. 6. The danger of debt. How to avoid the vicious cycle. Let's talk about one of the biggest villains in financial life, debt. They can start small, like a purchase in installments on a credit card or a loan to cover an unforeseen expense. However, when left unchecked, they can quickly snowball, taking away your sleep and often compromising your financial future. A classic example is the case of Fernanda. It all started when she decided to go on a trip to celebrate her birthday and paid the tickets and expenses on her credit card in installments. At the time, it seemed like a peaceful decision as the installments fit into your pocket. But soon after, other unexpected expenses arose, and without realizing it, Fernanda was using the card's limit to cover even her day-to-day monthly expenses. When the invoice arrived, she was shocked by the amount and started paying only the minimum. Thus, what seemed like a controlled debt quickly multiplied, and she saw her debt balance increase every month due to high interest rates. Unfortunately, this is the reality of many people who, like Fernanda, enter the debt cycle without realizing it. Credit cards, overdrafts, financing, all of them, if misused, can ruin your financial health. The point is that debt has a hidden cost, interest, and when you only pay the minimum or make payments late, that interest can add up to a frightening amount. So how do you avoid this vicious cycle? The first rule of thumb is, don't spend more than you earn. It seems simple, but in practice, many people lose control over their finances precisely because they don't follow this basic principle. The temptation to buy now and pay later, especially with a credit card, makes many forget that eventually these debts need to be paid off and with interest. Another important strategy is to learn how to manage your existing debts. If you already have accumulated debts, the best way to deal with them is to create a payment plan. Prioritize paying off debts with the highest interest rates first, such as credit cards or overdrafts, and try to negotiate with financial institutions to get better payment terms. If possible, avoid taking out loans as much as possible to cover day-to-day expenses. Loans can be useful in specific situations, such as purchasing a large asset or paying off a debt with very high interest, but they should never be used to finance a lifestyle beyond your means. Whenever you think about taking out a loan or paying in installments for a purchase, ask yourself, do I really need this now? Can I wait or save up to buy it outright? Controlling your debts and avoiding them is essential to building a healthier financial future. Remember that every dollar spent on interest is money that could be invested for your growth, whether personal or financial. If you find yourself in a cycle of debt, make a plan to get out of it as soon as possible and, above all, avoid falling into the trap again. Being in control of your finances and avoiding unnecessary debt is one of the keys to achieving financial freedom and ensuring that your money is working for you, rather than you always working to pay off debt. 7. Superfluous fees and expenses, small spending, big impact. Now, let's talk about something that seems harmless but could be silently sabotaging your finances. Superfluous fees and expenses. These are those small amounts that, added up over time, can make a big difference to your budget. Think about how many service subscriptions you pay for but rarely use, or bank fees that often go unnoticed but are charged monthly. These are classic examples of expenses that, in the end, can negatively impact your financial health. Imagine Julia's situation. She, like many of us, has always liked having a variety of services at her disposal. Streaming platforms, music apps, cloud storage, as well as a complete cable TV package. At first, everything seemed under control, as each service had a small value. However, when reviewing her monthly expenses, she realized that she was adding up to hundreds of dollars in subscriptions that she barely used. Not to mention the bank fees that, despite seeming small, accumulated every month. What Julia didn't realize was that these superfluous expenses and bank fees were taking up a large part of her budget, money that could be saved or invested for her future. Fortunately, she decided to take matters into her own hands. She carried out a detailed analysis of all the services she subscribed to and canceled those she did not use frequently. In addition, he researched more economical alternatives for his bank account, opting for a fee-free digital bank. In just a few months, she was able to save a significant amount by simply cutting these small expenses. And now, let's get to the practical part. How can you do the same? The first step is to review your monthly expenses in detail. See which subscription services you actually use and cancel the ones that aren't essential. Remember that you always have the option of resubscribing to a service if you need it in the future. It's not worth paying for something you barely use. Also, pay attention to bank fees. Nowadays, there are several digital account options that offer fee exemptions and are an excellent alternative for those who want to save money. If you pay for an account with high fees, it might be time to consider switching to a cheaper or free option. Another point to be considered is the review of service contracts, such as cable TV, internet, and telephone. Companies often offer discounted packages to new customers, but if you've been a customer for a while, you may be paying more than you should. Don't be afraid to call your operator and negotiate a reduction in the price of the service, or even change supplier if you find a better offer. Every penny counts, and eliminating these superfluous expenses can generate considerable savings in the long run. What seems like a small expense when accumulated over months or years, can make a significant difference to your wealth. These amounts you save can be redirected to your savings, investments, or even an emergency fund. Therefore, do a complete review of your finances and eliminate any expenses that do not add real value to your life. Your pocket will thank you, and you will be closer to the much-desired financial stability. 8. The belief that wealth is a matter of luck. Overcoming the limiting belief. One of the biggest obstacles that prevents many people from achieving financial success is believing that wealth is just a matter of luck. How many times have you heard phrases like, "That person only became rich because he was born into a privileged family," or "so-and-so was lucky, he won the lottery of life"? This type of thinking not only limits your opportunities, but it also creates a victim mentality where you believe that success is something outside of your control. Let's think about Carlos' example. He grew up believing that rich people were only in that position because of luck or family inheritances. Whenever he saw someone successful, he convinced himself that because he wasn't born into a wealthy family, he wouldn't have the same opportunities. This thought paralyzed him, and for years, he made no effort to change his own reality because he believed it would be no use. What Carlos didn't know, and what many people still don't understand, is that most rich people weren't born with a silver spoon. They built their wealth through discipline, hard work, and good financial decisions. Studies show that most millionaires made their own fortune over time, rather than through sudden luck. And even those who inherited money had to know how to manage it so as not to lose it over the years. When Carlos finally realized this, he began to change his mindset. He began to see himself as the protagonist of his own story and no longer as a victim of circumstances. Instead of blaming bad luck, he started taking concrete actions to change his financial reality. He studied investments, learned how to manage his finances, and started creating new income opportunities. Over time, he realized that wealth is not something that falls from the sky, but rather the result of strategic decisions and actions. The truth is, by believing that wealth is just a matter of luck, you are depriving yourself of the power to create your own prosperity. This limiting mindset prevents you from seeing the opportunities that are around you. After all, if you feel like you have no control over your success, why would you strive to achieve something greater? If you identify with this story, perhaps it is time to change the way you view financial success. Stop comparing yourself to others and justify your achievements based on luck. Instead, see yourself as primarily responsible for your own future. This does not mean that the path will be easy or that everyone will start from the same point, but rather that with effort, dedication, and the right decisions, you can build a prosperous financial life. Here's a simple but powerful tip. Stop focusing on what you don't have and start thinking about what you can do with what you do have. If you have a job, start saving and investing part of your salary. If you have a skill, look for ways to monetize it. If you don't have any of these resources, start studying, learning, and developing. Luck may play a role in some people's lives, but most financial success comes from a combination of knowledge, effort, and good choices. You are able to create your own luck. Remember, your financial life depends on you, the decisions you make, and the attitudes you adopt. So instead of waiting for something magical to happen, start building your own success story today. 9. Postponing investments, the cost of inertia. Many dream of achieving financial stability, but wait for the right time to start investing. This delay is one of the biggest mistakes when it comes to building wealth. The truth is that the longer you wait, the harder it becomes to take advantage of the power of compound interest, one of the secrets to accumulating wealth over time. Imagine you could have started investing 5 years ago. If you had done this, even with small amounts, the money invested would already be working for you. However, by postponing, you are wasting time and, consequently, opportunities for financial growth. And time is investors' best friend, as it allows returns to multiply. Fear of not having enough knowledge or expecting a larger amount of money are common excuses. But the secret is not to start with large amounts, but to take the first step, however small it may be. The important thing is to start, even if it's small. If you keep waiting, remember that the best time to start investing was yesterday. The second best is now. Don't let fear or lack of knowledge paralyze you. Invest in what you can and allow time to do its part. Ready to take that step? 10. Prioritizing accounts over you. The mistake that delays getting rich. Many people make the mistake of prioritizing paying all their bills before thinking about themselves. What does this mean? That you are always putting external needs first and failing to invest in your own future. If all your money goes to paying bills and debts before reserving anything for yourself, it's time to rethink your strategy. The concept of paying yourself first is simple but powerful. Before paying off all your monthly expenses, set aside a portion of your salary for your investments and savings, even if it's a small percentage. By doing this, you are ensuring that a portion of your earnings work towards your future, rather than just covering present expenses. Imagine that you start by setting aside 10% of your income to invest. Over time, this habit can completely transform your financial life, creating a solid foundation for enrichment. By prioritizing your personal finances, you reverse the cycle of living to pay bills and start building a real path towards financial freedom. Remember, paying yourself first is one of the most important steps to achieving financial independence. Start today and see the difference this simple change can make. Now that you know these 10 habits that could be keeping you in poverty, it's time to act. Remember that small changes can generate big transformations over time. If you start implementing these adjustments in your life today, you will be on the right path to achieving financial independence and living with greater peace of mind. Often, what prevents us from achieving success is a lack of action. So don't wait any longer. Start by organizing your finances, controlling your purchasing impulses, and, most importantly, investing in your future. The sooner you take control of your financial life, the faster you will see results. If this content helped you in any way, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Leave your like and comment below. Which of these habits have you identified in your life? How do you intend to overcome it? Share your experience, as your story can inspire others. And of course, if you know someone who could benefit from these tips, share this video. Let's build a more prosperous future for everyone together. Thank you, and see you in the next video.